Hello, everybody. I'm Rachel Ortega with the All Things Spiritual podcast. And today I'm super excited because I have my friend Tabbie Thew with me and I get to interview her today. So
Aw,
welcome, Tabbie.
thanks, Rachel. I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. All right, so stay tuned. So Tabbie, you're one of the premier members of our All Things Spiritual group on Facebook, and you're also one of our moderators too, which is awesome. So tell us a little bit about you, Tabbie.
My name is Tabbie Thew, and I have been an intuitive energy healer as a business for since 2017. I started in with all things spiritual when you guys first took over the group, but I have been doing my own personal journey since 2008. I started in 2008 in my spiritual work that I needed my own healing. I needed to show up in a place of healing after my mom had passed away. And as a result of that, I needed to learn a lot. So I started down this journey of my own spirituality and trying to figure out why I felt the way I felt, the things that had been coming up in my life, and paying attention to the energies that were coming up. So back in 2008, we didn't have a lot of things online. I didn't get to go click on a YouTube video and have somebody explain what I was thinking, what I was feeling, what I was knowing. So it was a lot about finding community and a lot about finding people that you could have conversations with. And I couldn't find the people that I needed to talk to. So I ended up doing a lot of stuff online. And I say online, in 2008, we were doing telephone calls. It was dial up and listen to people talk, or you had to find them on a radio station, or you had to in that kind of a space. There wasn't a lot in Colorado Springs. So as I was going through my healing journey, I started really experiencing a lot of work that there were a lot of people having the same problem finding somebody to talk to, and we ended up spending a lot of time at like the mind body spirit events
Mhm.
because that was the only thing. You got it twice a year, and that was the only way to connect in with the community. So I found a couple of people that I worked with personally and used them as mentors and worked through mind body spirit for a long time. And then in 2017, I got this push to be to stop just doing my own healing. So I had taken Reiki classes, and I had taken energy clearing classes and chakra clearing classes, and I had done all this internal work for me. And all of a sudden, I kept hearing, "You got to do it for others. You got to do it for others." And I was like, No, I don't. I have a corporate career. I don't need to do this for other people in this space." And I was building through my religious trauma that I had had growing up, and I was like, "Well, they're gonna persecute me." It was very much like I can't step
Yeah.
into this. I was afraid, and I didn't want to share it on Facebook. Like I could
Mhm.
barely have a conversation with people about it. And I was like, "What do you mean I got to do this in person? Like I got to start helping other people."
Yeah.
And so in 2017, I had a coaching certificate,
Mhm.
and I was going to do life coaching. But that lasted for a whole whopping 3 months because I kept getting intuitive downloads. I didn't know. I was like, where did these words come from? They come out my mouth, then they disappear. And then one of my mentors at the time, she's like, "You're channeling." I was like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Oh, this is a different side of things."
Yeah.
So I had done all this healing work for myself, 2008 to 2017, and it was internal work.
Yeah.
So I could start my journey on the external side. And then all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh, no, you need to channel. You need to heal. You need to step into this space
Mhm.
and give the messages to other people and help them learn their own healing." And that was a big learning for me. So all of that history to say, who are you today? So I do intuitive healing. I meet one-on-one with people
Mhm.
in a mentoring, coaching, personal healing, and either you can meet one-on-one or we can meet via a group. I like to do meditations. But we're our own healers. and we can step into the healing with other people and guide them. But I work myself out of business because they get to a certain place where they don't need my guidance anymore because they are leading themselves.
Yeah.
And that is my goal, is I don't want to leave anybody who's struggling internally with this I can't do it and I'm all alone. And so it's the support, the community, the knowingness, the coming together so that everybody can start feeling their strength and their power. So
I
that
think
was very long-winded.
that's okay, you're good. But that's what I love about you, Tabby, is that you teach people. You don't just do readings for people, or you teach them how to do this for themselves. And that I think that speaks a lot about your ethics and your integrity because you're not just trying to hook people in, right? Like you really want to teach them how to tap into their own intuition, tap into their own higher selves to so that they can be their own healer,
Right.
right? And I love that. And you also talked about your religious trauma and stepping out. And oh my gosh, I could relate to that so bad because when I first came into this, I was like, I can't come out in public. Like people are going to think I'm crazy or they're going to persecute me or I'm going to lose people, but it does. It takes a lot of strength to finally just say, all right, fine. This
This
is
is who I am. Because people think that it's either or.
Mhm,
You can either be religious or you can be spiritual. And when you go to the next level, you see in consciousness that we are all just one. Like
mhm.
if people talk about it. But when you box yourself in to certain religions or certain even in spirituality, people are like, well, don't talk about God. I'm like, but it's universal energy. When you're not better than, but when you're looking at it from a collective consciousness, you understand and see it's not good, it's not bad, it's just is.
Yes.
And that duality took me a long time to understand. I wish I could say that I just knew, like I just knew, but that concept of duality, there is no good, there is no bad, there just is. That's a hard concept. And you're like, but Tabby, there are bad people in the world. That person makes bad choices and bad decisions based on the world's code. Killing somebody, murdering somebody, hurting somebody else. That's bad decisioning on that person's part.
Yes.
But we don't know what their karmic background is that has led them to this space. Doesn't give them an excuse to do the bad things. It just makes them not a good person.
Yep, that is true. And that is hard to wrap your head around, I think, too. Is or even just the one I have a hard time with sometimes is it's just all the experience, right? It's not so much what happens to us, but it's about the experience.
So it's really,
That's it.
yeah, no, that's it. So our life, everybody is like, I just want to live the best that I can.
Mhm.
And our experiences or our life is like everybody's so worried about getting to the end. But the whole purpose of being human, being on this planet and being human is the experience. We've been reading the book Guided, or the All Things Spiritual book
Oh,
club.
yes. I love it.
And at the very beginning of that book, she talks about the dash. And the dash is your life well lived. So you're born and you die. Those are the two inevitable things that happen in your life. But the dash in between the year of your birth and the year of your death is all the things that you have done to be the person that you need to be,
Mhm.
because you only get that infinite time in this human body. So there's a lot of nuance there, but those who know. We'll just leave it at that. In this time, you get that dash. So it's what can you do to make that dash not have the really, really highs and the really, really lows energetically. You want to get yourself into a spiritual path of, even if it's really crappy thing that happens, and you and I have both had some really crappy things that have happened this
Oh,
last
yeah.
month. Where can you get yourself back into that space of gratitude? Energetically, gratitude is neutral. So there's a lot of things on the internet, a lot of things in the world that talk about being in gratitude. And people are like, oh, you're bypassing all the bad stuff. No, gratitude's neutral. You can get to gratitude whether you're coming from depression and anger, or if you're coming from, love and happiness. Gratitude's your neutral. So if you're in gratitude, you get to be able to move yourself forward, and you can go up or you can go down. But going back to gratitude is that safe space.
Yeah. And I think gratitude is so like it's so powerful too.
Mhm.
Like, it's such a powerful thing because it can totally shift your perspective on things, the way you look at things that have happened to you or and it can pull you out of that being stuck, right?
Yeah, it brings you up out of the
Mhm.
you know, why me? So that was if you can move out of the why and you can move into the what is the lesson?
Yep.
Cuz like, oh woe is me. We tend to do a lot of, especially when first start your healing journey. It's, oh, why me? Why is this bad thing happening to me? Why am the, I'm probably going to make people upset, but hopefully not. A lot of the religions are like, well, you're bad or you're naughty, and so therefore God, or you've displeased God, and therefore this is your punishment. It's not the way it works.
Yeah.
And but that mindset is prevalent. Just like, you did something bad, you spilt the milk. Like, you know how, like, when little kids, you know how people talk about don't cry over spilt milk?
Yes.
Like, a little kid will spill the milk, and then how the parents react is going to dictate how the child reacts.
Yes.
And or if the parent has reacted poorly on several occasions, then that person's going to instantly start crying over the spilt milk.
Yep.
But if you spill the milk and you're like, "It's okay, let me help you clean it up."
I love that analogy because so I have 5 kids, right? And
Yeah,
my older kids are a lot older than my younger kids, right? They're all kind of spaced pretty evenly, but it makes my older kids a lot older than my younger kids. So when I was raising my older kids, I hadn't worked through a lot of my own stuff. So
because you're a young mom,
I
right?
was a young mom. I was 19 and so they had a very different mom than my younger kids cuz somewhere in between there I did a lot of my healing work. And so my younger kids would spill something and they would be like and I would be like, "What did you do? Why did you do that? Why aren't you being careful?" I'd be so upset. And then my younger kids, I've done my healing work, and so my younger kids, they spill something, and I'm like, "Oh, well, that sucks, clean it."
Get the rag, clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It people, it's such an easy analogy to kind of like
Mhm.
work on. It's like, oh, I changed internally, me, I changed. And that my reaction changed the reaction that I have to this situation.
Yes.
And therefore the people in the situation show up differently.
Exactly. My older kids, for the longest time, if they did something wrong or made a mistake, they were afraid to tell me because they were afraid they're gonna get yelled at, right? Whereas my younger kids would come up to me and be like, "Mom, I broke this," or "Mom, this happened." Where my older kids would be like, "Oh, shoot, let's hide this so mom doesn't see it." But it does. It makes a huge difference
And then
how you show up.
how you show up as a person
Mhm.
shifts and changes. And then and I know a lot of people, like, we don't come I didn't start my healing journey until my mom passed away, and that was I was 33, 34. So there was a lot of years
Yeah.
that I wasn't in the best headspace. I was angry, I was pissed off, I was always showing up in what we'd consider lower vibrational energy. And it was because I didn't know anything else. Like, that's how I was raised. That was my environment. Where other people I would see somebody who would show up with grace and ease, and I'd be like, how they do that?
Right?
But it's something that I've, like, when you sit in different environments and people show up very differently, and you see somebody show up really reactive. A lot of times when you're in a spiritual space, you're like, they got work to do with no judgment. And then that makes you not angry at that person because you're like, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because I I still have work to do. There are still things that from my past that pop up every once in a while. And I was like, huh, how do I fix this?
Yeah.
Doesn't
So
make me good, doesn't make me bad, just means that it's a continuous evolution.
yeah, I think we're always healing, right? But and that brings me to my next question, because my
Okay.
next question for you is about the importance. Do you think it's important to work on your healing if you're going to be doing energy work and helping other people work on their healing or find their healing? Do you feel like it's important for you to work on your own healing?
It should be continuous and ongoing forever. Again, try not to offend people when I say things, but if you come across somebody who is is trying to lead you or teach you or show you different things, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't work on myself anymore." Don't work with them. And I say that in all love and respect, because the whole purpose of our journey is to learn, grow, and transmute.
Mhm.
So from the time you grow, you should not be the same person you were when you were born as the person you are when you die. And it's not just an age thing, it's the experiences that happen throughout your life. And so if you're not learning and growing and changing as you mature, then you stagnate energetically. You end up with like stuck energy in your body. And then you're like, oh, I don't understand why my pancreas, like all the stiffness that is in your body is a direct result of not being able to move the energy that you have. And so from a healing perspective, you should always be ongoing. You should always be learning. But it looks different for each person because
Mhm.
each person's in a different space. So when you first start, you may be seeking people out,
Yeah.
okay? And trying to find somebody who can help you, guide you, move you through. Then as you gain your own wings, my butterfly analogy, like as you're coming out of your cocoon of healing, you gain your own wings, and your healing comes from knowing and being able to understand the why, the not the why, the how. Where's my lesson from this? Where is my growth from this? If this happens, then this happens. So where's my growth? And then as you're working with people, you are going to know if that person is showing up from a space of integrity, or if that person is showing up in the space of, I just want you to do what I tell you to do. And you get to decide, do you want somebody to tell you how to do your life, or do you want somebody to help you grow into being your own person?
Yeah.
And that's in the spiritual space, it's a big thing. Like, cuz there will be people that will tell you exactly what you want to hear to keep
Mhm.
you coming back to them
Yeah.
in this space. And
One and vice versa too, because you get people that they just want you to tell them what they wanna hear, and then when you don't and you're telling them, like, what it is that, where
it's
they need
coming from
healing or where yeah, then they're like they're not happy with that because, you
because
know
they want the easy answer.
yes.
Or they want you to do it for them.
Mhm.
The hardest thing that we'll ever do is our own healing work.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the people that show up and want to work with different healers is there's the like energy. So we talk a lot about the like energy, and it's one of the universal laws, which, by the way, that's what we're going to be covering in May,
I
the
love
universal
that.
laws.
I love that.
So the
That's gonna be
teaching that I'm
awesome.
going to do is about the 12 universal laws, and we're just going to go over what they are and then examples of like how that energy works and why it is a universal law. Because I've noticed that we talk about it a lot, but people don't understand the why behind like energy attracts like energy.
Mhm.
So your healer is going to have similar experiences to
Mhm.
you, because then you are seeing, they see the world like similar, so that you can connect. Like, so my metaphor is, if you're a gardener and I'm not a gardener and I know nothing about gardening, which I don't, I'm not a plant person, but my messages come through and I'm telling you, oh well, the petunias need to be, I don't even know, this is a terrible example, but the petunias need to be watered and whatever, and you're like, oh, those are annuals versus perennials, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I love that.
That's how, like, your messages come for you, like, in a language you need to understand. So if you're not connecting in that space, then energetically you may not be a match for that person.
Mhm.
So I don't know where we ended up off on that topic. So
I don't know. But
what
this
happened?
is what happens when me and Tabby get together. We start talking about stuff and it like literally we have big conversations like this every time we're together and we never run out of things to talk about apparently.
There's lots of fun things.
Yeah.
There's lots of things out there. So
Well, and I met Tabby, I think almost about 4, almost 5 years ago, very early in my journey, and it was the first Body, Mind, Spirit event that I had done, which I kinda got pushed out to go do it. Like, "Go do this, it'll help you build your confidence, learn how to bring in people quickly and stuff like that," and so I went, and I was having a hard time. I was just having a really hard time clearing my energy, and it was my first event, so I didn't know, like, all the tips and tricks, right?
Right.
To be doing back-to-back readings all day long. And so I was kind of having a hard time clearing my energy, so I got up and walked around, and I happened to see Tabbie, and she's like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm having a hard time." And she's like, "Well, you just gotta clear your energy, and you just gotta do this and this and that." And I was like, "Oh,
She's like,
okay."
"Huh?"
And so I went back to my booth and did everything you said. She talked about just clearing, and I still do the same thing to this
Mm.
day. And oh my gosh, it was so much better. And then I saw her at the next event and got a reading from her, which she was spot on about everything. And then was like, and I just knew we were going to be friends. And so I was like, "Hey, do you want to go get some coffee sometime?" And she's like, "Sure." And we've been friends ever since. And I consider you one of my mentors too, because you've taught me so much about energy and how energy works, and how to move through energy, and how to let energy move through me. And so, like, I really value our friendship in that, and like everything you've taught me.
You make my heart happy.
And so I wanna share Tabby with the world because I think she's amazing. And I have personally found a lot of just being friends with you, a lot of, like, my own healing in other areas too, like, just moving through my own stuff, just, spending time with you and just all the conversations that we've had.
It's fun to have the conversations because when you drop into the energy of what is the universe bringing into our lives, it gives us this availability for all the topics, and you can and but a lot of times people want to stay on the surface. And one of the things I love about you, Rachel, is you've always had that thirst for curiosity. And I don't know all of it. Like, I know what I know because I've either learned it or one of my gifts is clear knowing. Like, I know shit just drops into my head. And for years, I didn't trust it. And that was the biggest learning that I had coming into this. And there are still times when I don't trust it. And I have to take a breath and bring it in. But what I found is when I do events, like, I'm always in the
Mhm,
flow of the trust in the energy. So whether it's not Tabby the human that's sitting there, it's my higher self. And my vessel is bringing the higher energy in and flowing it out to the people that need it for that moment in time. And I show up for the people who are going to show up for themselves. That's it. So if you sit down with me, you're showing up for yourself. And it took me years, literally years. Um, when I think about it, it was the 2016 to 2019
mhm.
was the years where I was like, "Can I really do this? Can I really do this? Can I really do this?" And I kept doubting that I was bringing benefit. And it wasn't until I stopped doubting that I was, "Okay, the right people show up."
Yes.
And you just have to keep that in momentum. And one of the things I love most about you was always that you've never doubted your gifts. And you're like, "Sometimes I do, but I don't." But you have the evidence that goes along with the things that you're doing. And so you see it, you feel it, and you know it. And I'm like, I just want to see. And my seeing has gotten stronger the more I've worked on it. So just being in your presence helped my seeing open up
Nice.
because we've been able to, like, you're like, "Oh, yeah, just do it this way." And so that's what I love, how open and you're always willing to share exactly what's coming up for you so that other people can see and feel and know that it's not just
Yeah.
your imagination,
Mhm.
because it's not tangible.
When I think I learned a long time ago that whatever comes in, to just say it, it doesn't have to make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so, just say it.
Yeah. And you'd think that that's an easy thing to learn.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not. Not even for me, it wasn't.
Well, and especially when you're new, when
Mhm.
like, when you don't trust yourself, how are you supposed to say something to somebody else that they might think is completely crazy?
Right? Well, and that's why I love having you as one of the moderators at the All Things Spiritual group. I love having you helping me with it. And I notice when we're doing like meetings together, like we really bounce off of each other too.
Yeah.
And it's always a great time with every just getting to know everybody and connecting. And I love when my clients go see you because I know they're gonna get such
Yeah.
valuable insight from you too.
And my favorite part about the All Things Spiritual group and in the meetups is just meeting people exactly where they are.
Mhm.
So if you're new to the spirituality space, great. Here's some tips and tricks. What can we do to support you? If you are an experienced reader and you're just trying to connect with other people, because it's not like you can call up if you don't have a best friend that is a spiritual person,
Yeah.
you can't call them up and be like, all right, I got to tell you the weirdest thing that just happened to me. So the time that we were in Denver, and we were one of the fairs in Denver, and one of my readings was an alien reading, and I'd never done an alien reading before.
I
And
remember
like,
that.
and I was just like, after the fact, I'm like my human self was like, did that just happen? And I refer to myself between my human self and my higher self. It, and it's not because it's two separate entities, it's all who's within me. But when I'm channeling, I don't have any of the doubt. I don't have any of the, is that real? But as my human self, sometimes in the back of my head, I was like, what's going on? And so you hear your own messages. And especially when you're in energy with somebody,
Yes.
you hear your own messages, you hear your own guidance. And sometimes that energy that's coming through for them is for you too.
Oh, yeah.
And but a lot of people don't understand that. So you were asking, do we need to do our own healing? You do, because when you're sitting with somebody else, your shit can go on to them if you're not doing your own work. And I'm trying not to cuss, but it's the only way I know how to explain it. Your internal can be biased and land on the people around you. And you don't, energetically, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Um, and you want to check in. Does this person bring me joy and happiness when I'm with them? Do they lift me up? Or do I feel exhausted and drained and I just can't be around them?
Yeah.
So checking in physically is really important. And I do it like the physical check in with your, and it's not just because our energy fields are connected when we're sitting this close.
Yes.
You are sitting in my energy and I'm sitting in yours.
Mhm.
Um, which is fine, but like a lot of the people in our group don't know how to manage their own energy.
Mhm.
And so if my energy is wide open, I'm going to be dumping it on you,
Yeah.
or I'm going to be taking in all the things that may not be great. So as empaths in this group, we need to learn how to not overshare, but we also don't want to block ourselves off so we don't receive the benefit.
Yes,
So
exactly. I love that. And I think that's part of why we connect so well too. The other thing too, when you talk about like doing your own healing, it's important because otherwise if you're doing readings for other people, you're there's a good chance you can project
your crap. Yep.
your own triggers, onto them. And there has been times when I'm doing a reading and, I can feel like, oh, that's triggering me. And I have to like take a step back within myself and like,
Yeah, because
okay,
you're consciously there, but you've moved your human consciousness kind of to the left or the
yes,
right so that you can get your channeled message.
yep. And then I'm like, wait, this is this is a trigger. I feel like this is something that's triggering me. So I'll stop, take a deep breath, and move out of that, or like I don't know, push it to the back or push it to a side and deal with it later, and then continue with my client because I want to be objective, right?
Right.
And and then like I know to work on it later, right?
Take a note. Mental
That's some
note, physical
that's
note.
something I need to work on, and now when I do readings and some of those things come up now, it doesn't trigger me
Right.
anymore. So I'm like, "Okay, good, I've worked through that." And I think I've called you a few times. Guess what? Somebody had a client, they said this, and it didn't
It didn't
trigger me.
bother me. It didn't
Yeah, I
bother
didn't
me.
get it. I didn't feel anything personal about it. That's awesome.
But that's you seeing, okay, so two things that you did there. One, you consciously noticed that you didn't want to bring in your own bias.
Mhm.
So you consciously noticed the energy of your own bias coming into the reading, into the space. And you can say, this is my consciousness. This is my, I think I've used the word that this is my humanness. That, if you want a human answer, I can give you a human answer. You want a spiritual answer, I'll give you a spiritual answer, because you're going to have two different outlooks, two different
Mhm.
views. But you consciously noticed your energy, you consciously noticed the trigger that was within yourself, and you decided that, okay, right now is not the time, but I'm going to work on it when it is my time to do my healing. A lot of people will not go back to it. That's the growth part is coming back and saying, okay, so why did this bother me? Why did this upset me? You don't have to necessarily know the origin point, but you do need to go, what is my lesson to learn through this? And that helps take the electrical charge. Like if we just talk energy, takes
Mhm.
the electrical charge around that emotion, that memory, that and that's the whole point. You want to take neurologically, you want to take the electrical charge away from that memory so that it like if you say something that used to piss you off, the sky is purple. It is not purple. Well, sometimes it is. Like
Right?
but it takes away that electric charge to that
Mhm.
energy of that space. Funny enough, things that used to bother you or used to bring you anxiety, you personally, me, if you clear the energy of it,
Mhm.
sometimes you can't even remember the memory because you take away the electrical charge to that memory. And all of a sudden you're like, well, I remember this used to be a problem. And then you're like, but it's not anymore.
Yeah.
And like, yay, it's not anymore. So that's the practical part because like it's great. We can go live in our fair bubbles. I like to call it the fair bubble. Like you go to the fair and you get to live in your fair bubble, but then you have practicality. You have the day to day. So if the people that are showing up with us can see that you can use it on a day-to-day basis. Use it like use your energy healing to be able to go to Walmart. Nobody wants to go to Walmart. I'm nobody. I don't want to go to
I
Walmart.
don't, yeah.
But that's like so you're not exhausted. So you're not showing up drained so that you can show up, with a positive outlook and not adversely impact the people that you're showing up in. The world is heavy.
Yes.
I'm fully aware of what's going on in the world today. I choose in my world to acknowledge and move through. There are other people who are going to want to change the world, and I will support. But my way of changing the world and their way of changing the world are two different ways. I'm not going to the political rallies. I don't feel that that's my space. I will love all the people who go to the political rallies because they're going to make deep changes in this world. I'm not going to talk politics with people because it brings up so much anxiety, not just for me, but for them. If they need to release that, by all means, let it go. But I'm not going to argue politics because politics are duality, right, wrong. We're not right. We're not wrong. Somewhere in the middle is really where we need to be.
Yes.
And if you're going to land in the duality, I'm not hanging out in duality.
It's,
So,
and then that's kind of a hot topic too sometimes. But I feel like we all have our own, it's part of our journey. And some of
mhm,
us that is part of our journey, and some of us that is not part of our journey. And some of us, the part of our journey is to be in the middle. And there are people that are called to just be in the middle. Where the
it's the
bridge is,
bridge.
we're the
Yeah,
bridge. We're the bridge.
we're the
Once
bridge.
that bridge, we help both sides come
Come
together.
together and be able to have an uncharged
Mhm.
conversation. Yeah.
So my next question. So have you ever been accused of being too love and light?
Oh, yeah. But I've also been accused of being too loud, too bossy, too spiritually bypassing because I've always, part of my journey has been you get to choose how you show up in the world. So I think I've told you this story, but we'll tell it to the world. So when my mother died, it was a really dark time in my life. My mom died, I got divorced. I was a single mom of a 3-year-old and I just had back surgery.
Mhm.
So it was a hot mess. There were so many things going on at that time in my life that it was just ugly. And I was taking antidepressants. I was seeing a therapist. I was just trying to keep it together. Like,
Mhm.
in all honesty, there were times when I was like, if I didn't have a 3-year-old, I may not be still here. Let's just put it out there. And then something clicked in my brain, and somebody told me, it was somebody I was dating at the time. He's like, it's a choice. I was like, what? He's like, it's a choice. You get to choose if you want to be happy, or you get to choose if you want to be miserable. He's like, your circumstances aren't great. And he wasn't wrong. My circumstances were not great. Single mom, no money, dead mother, divorced, depressed, but it was a choice. And there's this book, and I can't remember the name of the author, but the book is Happiness is a Choice. And I had this book for like 8 months, and it sat right next to my bed. And I was not choosing happiness at that time. I was not choosing happiness. So I read the book And it was like this internal shift started to happen where if you want to accuse me of being love and light, I'd be like, hot damn, I've come a long way. But seriously, it's like I've come through like a lot of tragedy to get where I am, like a lot. And it's hard to talk about sometimes because it gets stuck right here in my throat, right in my throat chakra. Because we so often people are like, they look at you and say, well, how can you be happy about something happening like in the world? Somebody's death, like how can you look at that and not be just devastated? And it's like, you love me. It's all energy. It's all energy. And you get to choose if you want to put the positive energy into it or the negative energy. You get to choose if you're going to show up in a I hate my life. I hate my life and like I have no money and I'm broke and everything I do like everything sucks and everybody around me sucks. Yep, I don't remember who did the quote. It's if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
There's a famous guy who quoted that, and if I remember it, I'll let you know, but I can't remember what it is right now. But it's a choice. And go ahead, accuse me of being love and light all you want, because that means I've come a long way.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna wear it as a badge of honor. I might get us some pins that say love and light. Love and light lives here.
Right?
Gotta go get us some shirts
Some
made.
t-shirts.
I am a love and light bitch. It's okay because I do take it as a badge of honor
Yeah.
that I have come so far now that people look at me and get angry because I'm happy. All right.
Yeah. Well, and that just says a lot about them,
It means they
not
still have
you.
work to do.
Yeah.
Doesn't make me bad, doesn't make them right, doesn't make them wrong. Just means
Mhm.
that they've got stuff they need to work on for them. And my heart breaks for them because I know that they need to work on their own stuff.
Yeah.
So
The I think, I love that, and I think one of the things I admire about a lot about you is you I mean, I know you really well, so I know you've been through a lot of really hard things, and but you don't wallow in it, like, you show up with love, and you show up with happiness and positivity and hope is so important right now,
hope is important.
especially. And, bad things happen to all of us, right? And again, it's where do you wanna put your energy?
You want to put it in the sadness and the despair, or do you want to put it in the joy and the love?
And that's not bypassing,
It's choice.
acknowledging where you've been, what the things that have happened, and then choosing to move through those
Right.
things.
Yeah, spiritual bypassing is about telling somebody who's, for example, you just lost your grandmother. And I know that's been very hard for you. And it's telling you, well, you'll get over it. Just get
Mhm.
through it. Well, you should be done by now. Like that is not.
Yeah, no,
That is
that is
not
not
okay. That is like, don't tell somebody who's going through something really, really hard, "Well, just take your lesson and move on." No, you gotta feel it.
yeah.
You gotta embody the shift. Like, feel your feelings.
Mhm.
Feel how you feel. Show up how you feel. Be where you need to be and know that each step that you're taking to feel how you feel.
Mhm.
Because I just lost one of my really good friends. Man, I might cry. It's not a good session if we haven't cried, but tell her I know she's there. Does it take away any of the human emotions? Not even a little bit.
No.
But I get to choose if I'm going to wallow in the despair of never being able to see her physically again,
Mhm.
or if I'm going to know that energetically she is with me even more now than she ever was before. And it's this really like I get to choose how I move through it, and you get to choose how you move through it. Anybody accusing you of bypassing your own emotions, that's their issue.
Well, and like, how does anybody even know, right? Nobody knows what we're doing behind the scenes, right? Nobody knows what we're working on when nobody's around.
That's right. Well, and a lot of bypassing comes from their in the past it was like, "Oh, well, just get over your trauma from, sexual assault or
Mhm.
get over your trauma from the death of a loved one or just get over yourself." Or, this is one of my favorite ones is, "If you pay me $10,000, I will ensure that you get to the next level of spirituality or the next
Ugh.
level of healing." And I'm like, "Huh?" And no offense to anybody who wants to spend $10,000 on their own self-love,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna allow somebody to the $600 candle.
Yes, $600 candle.
They don't understand the story. But, well, wait, you tell the $600 candle
Oh, the
story.
$600 can okay. Well, I had a young girl, she was probably like 23, come see me for a reading, and she told me that she had had a reading like a few days before, and I'm like, "Oh, wow," and I was like, "So why are you coming to see me?" And she said and we did her reading, she wanted to talk about her relationship, and she was telling me, "Well, I had another one a few days ago, but the psychic, she just" and it was somebody here in town, and she said, you know, "The psychic she just wanted to talk about my childhood trauma." And I wanted to talk about my relationship, but she just kept going back to my trauma, and she said and then she told me that I had this big cloud hanging over my head, and, you know, and until I cleared it, it was gonna just cause chaos in my life and all my relationships, and she said but then and then she told her, she tells me then she told me that she had these special, angel candles, and they were like and I saw a picture, they're candles with, like, little crystals in them that you can get, like, at the fair for, like, 25 bucks, right?
Right? Yeah.
And she's like and she told me if I bought this candle, and it's special angel candle, and burned it, once it burned out, then it would clear my energy, and the candle was $600. She bought this special candle for $600. It would clear her energy, the cloud that's over her head. I think my jaw dropped, and I was like, "Oh my god, I am so sorry." Like, that's terrible. That is and I was like, "Who's that person?" Because I wanna make sure I don't send anybody over there. And it wasn't anybody that I know, thank goodness, which I don't think anybody I know would do that anyways. And so, maybe some people I know of, but not anybody I know.
Right.
So, yes, so I was like, "You know what? You do have childhood" like, you know, she had childhood trauma. I said, "But I also feel like you're working through it." And she says, "Yes, I am." She's like, "I'm going to therapy, I'm working through it." And I said, "You don't have a big cloud hanging over your head. Like, don't listen to that lady." But, that's scary because there are people that are predatory out there, and, you know, so our joke is now is always I actually bought Tabby a candle for her birthday that had crystals in it and stuff, and I said, "Look, Tabby, I bought you a $600"
And that story is so important because it's the power of discernment. It's the
Mhm,
power of knowing and understanding inside yourself that you are capable of clearing your own energy. You are capable of doing the work for yourself. And being able to discern when somebody is being predatory. But
yeah,
again, it goes back into people use the words spiritually bypassing, people use the words
mhm,
that I've got to clear this curse from you. There are a lot of things we do not know and we do not see. And some people can see some stuff that other people can't. And that's okay. But it all comes from your power of choice, your power of decision, your power of discernment. So it's a choice to show up in happiness, in
yes.
life, in love, and not wallow in the pits of despair. I'm not wallowing in the pits of despair. Like, it just doesn't sound like
No, it doesn't sound like
just
a fun
doesn't sound
place
like
to
a good
be.
place. Like, I don't
Yes.
like, and if you wanna tell me that I'm too love and light, bring it on. I'll be like, "Thank you, I appreciate you."
And it is, like, I've been through a lot to
Mhm.
get where I'm at, and when I look back like, I had a big birthday party for my 50th, and my cousin was like, "Why are you having a party for your 50th?" Like, you know, because she's like, "We're getting old, why do you wanna celebrate that?" I'm like, "Because look at how far I've come." Like, I was just so like, looking back, you know, being a widow, losing my husband, all the things that I've had to go through, I was, like, really proud that I made it to 50
Yeah,
and where I'm at in life today. And I was like, "No, we're celebrating this. I've come a long way." When I look back, I've been through a lot of shit and I've come a long way, and it's like, "No, we're celebrating. I'm excited."
yeah. No, it's like I worked we joke all the time about, like, I feel like I've lived 4 lives in this one lifetime, but there's distinct times in my life that I've noticed, and what's really funny is our time right now is, like, for me, not everybody, but for me right now, it's this coming out, like,
Mhm. Look at all the goodness that is in life right now.
and I just wanna celebrate with people, and that's why I like the community, and that's why I
Mhm.
like all things spiritual. That's why I show up for the events. I
Mhm.
show up for the events when I can show up for the events. It's not about any one group or one group of people, but it's like I show up when I can show up, and that's how you need to you do it. You check in with yourself, "Is it
Mhm.
the right time for me to show up today?"
Yeah, I love that. So, as we're wrapping up, I do wanna ask you So what is the name of your business? Because we didn't talk about that.
And, it's funny. I say I have a business and then I never talk about my actual business. So my business is Infinite Love Mentoring with Tabby. I have a Facebook page. If you want one-on-one sessions, you can message me. What I like to do with Infinite Love Mentoring is I am here to help guide, and I was working on my words because everybody has, and I always remember it's like I don't want to sound like I'm selling. That's one of those things. It's like, okay, so what do I do? Why do I do what I do, and why am I in this place? And it's about, the mission is to support people in a way of them being able to know and understand their own energy. There are a lot of emphatic people who are just stepping into their gifts, who some of them want to do it as a business, some of them want to do it for their own personal gain, but there's a lot of healing that
Mhm.
needs to go on. And so with Infinite Love Mentoring, it's about, and if you've been to any of my meditations, I talk about infinite love. It's your connection to your higher self. It's the connection to your heart self. It's the connection to the earth, which is your human self. And that infinite symbol that goes from your higher self to your heart self to the earth, back into your heart self, back up to your higher self. It's the connection of the energy that flows through our body. And I had that vision when I was trying to put together my business name, and I kept trying and trying to come up with a name. And I kept seeing this infinity symbol. And I was like, okay, well, okay, sure, if that's what we got to go with. But what I do is I support people in their growth
Mhm.
through their own healing journey. You can do that through one-on-one sessions. You can do that through meditation sessions that are more in a group setting, or I just do individual readings. If you're like, I'm not ready to do a full commitment with you, Tabby, but I do individual readings and I channel your higher self so you can hear the message that you need to hear. And then we pull in the energy of what you need to clear, what
Yes.
comes up. I used to do Reiki. I don't do traditional Reiki anymore, but I do like to teach now. So
Nice.
I teach you how to clear yourself. I teach you how to do your own chakra clearings.
Mm.
So it's just a matter of where you are and what you want to do. And I really do try to make my stuff affordable for people so that they can come in and I can meet you where you're at. Yeah. So I don't have a lot of availability, but
Mm.
I do try to make myself available for the right people.
So why don't you tell everybody about your full moon clearings that you do? Because
Oh,
even if they're not local, if you're local, you can join in person. But even if you're not local, you can join. You have online option now too, which
yeah.
is I love.
Yeah, so I talked a couple of times about meditation. So meditation is a way of getting into your internal self. And I learned I never used to be able to meditate. It's very funny that I've come so far. I couldn't even do yoga. I couldn't do anything that was slow in my 30s. If
Mm.
it was slow paced, I couldn't do it.
Oh
I
wow.
was I was so go go go
Mm.
that I never took the time to hear what was going on inside.
Mm.
So, you learn from yourself. So, my full moon healings, I do full moon healings on every full moon. And the next one coming up is May 1st. And then, funny enough, the next one after that will be May 31st.
Oh,
So, we'll have two full moons in the month of May, which it's rare.
I knew. I was going to ask you the other day too if that
Yeah.
ever happens.
Yes. So but I do them via Zoom and I do them here in Colorado Springs in person. So you can join on Zoom or you can join me in Colorado Springs. They are usually 2 hours. We do a little bit of chit chat before. We do the meditation, which is anywhere between 25 and 45 minutes, depending on what we're doing. And then we do some work, a little bit of conversation afterwards, because again, it's about building community, about you feeling what you feel inside you is going to be different than what Rachel feels inside her. So having that awareness helps you understand that you're not alone, first of all. And then the second thing that it helps you understand is that everybody experiences the things that we're doing in life differently. And so those two things bring us
Yes.
together.
But I think what I love the most about your meditations, one, they're amazing. But the other thing I really love is that you go around the room and ask people, what is it they're wanting to let go of? What is it they're wanting to bring in? And then you incorporate it into your meditation, it's like totally customizable just for each person there,
Right.
which I love.
Well, and what I love best about the group meditation is it gives so you may have one thing that you want to work on this month that is very prevalent in yourself. And but then I may have something completely different that I want to work on, but it is also beneficial for you. So when you clear the energy for everybody, it comes out clearing for the whole entire group. You may not even know that you needed to do some clearing on some of that. So it was it's a very eye-opening experience when you come into a group healing session like that, because you get to heal what you're conscious of, and then you get to heal what you're unconscious of.
Yeah.
And it's so fabulous. I know. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do.
I know. I love
So,
it. Tabby, thank you so much for coming on today. And how can, okay, so you have every month you do your full moon here healing meditation that people can come
and it's
to,
donation based.
donation based. I love that. You also teach classes which people can they find those on your website?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
They can both find the sign up for the full moon class and any classes that I'm teaching at that time, or they could sign up for a one-on-one healing session or a reading.
The other thing so how can people find you? Because I know you're on other platforms too.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and then I have a website that has my all the things that I do,
So
and YouTube. I forgot. I always forget about my YouTube channel.
I've seen your YouTube stuff come up. I think it's really great. So on YouTube, you post a lot of
Daily card readings, and it's not me telling you; it's me giving you a choice because it's all about choice. Giving you a choice of the cards so that you can choose which one resonates with you. So I like doing that because, again, the more you choose for yourself,
Mhm.
the more you stand in your own power. So did you see the shoulders back and stand in your own power?
Yes, I love
So
that.
it's important.
So on Facebook, how can they find you on Facebook? What is your
So my business name is Infinite Love Mentoring with Tabby.
Mhm.
So you can find that on Facebook. If they or they can Facebook Tabbie Thew. Either one or both. Both is actually better. So, and if you go on there, my card pools are on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So,
Nice. Awesome. And are you on TikTok?
oh yeah,
And you have a website?
I do.
Okay, what is your website?
I will have to send it to you.
We will put the
Uh,
link for her website in the
yeah,
podcast.
sometimes the things go out the head.
Well, thank you so much for coming, friend.
Mm,
I really enjoyed.
I enjoyed it. I knew I was going to enjoy this interview. Though. Yeah.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Anything
Thanks for listening to me.
anything else you want to share before we go? Other than if you haven't joined All Things Spiritual, you should. 'Cause there's a lot of amazing people in that group. And here's one of them.
Thank you. Check in with yourself on a daily basis, 1 to 2 minutes. Drop into your heart. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and just check in with yourself.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining us today. And to find out more about All Things Spiritual, come to All Things Spiritual Community on Facebook, or you can go to allthingsspiritualco.com. Have a good day.